41 years in prison for making my students eat cupcakes with my husband's semen. Is my sentence deserved? Likes and subscribes. You'll find out how I managed to pull off this madness. I'm Cynthia Perkins, a 35-year-old fat freak who had the brilliant idea of getting my husband to put his semen in the preparation of our cupcakes. Dennis, my man, 44 and just as vicious as me, thought my idea was a good one and went for it. He finished his business in third-party custard and made them special. To spice up their day a little, I told my dear students that the game was to find the secret ingredient. Of course, we thought of our own daughter and saved one of Daddy's cream cupcakes for her. As children fell ill, our little game was not without consequences. Suspicions arose, and we found ourselves facing more than 50 charges considered sex crimes. So what did you think? Do you think the sentence is deserved for a simple recipe? I look forward to your comments.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit into depth on this traffic cam footage. I've actually attached 2 photos of the actual traffic camera. That is the traffic camera that you're seeing this footage from. It's probably, I would say, 75 to 80 feet high. The clarity on those cameras are not the best in the world. I don't know why. That's just how it is. So I'm going to actually show you in fast motion. I'm going to be doing a lot of scrubbing so you can actually see Carly's figure going across. You can see clear as day. She's to the right. Let me reverse it. See her getting out, moving around. I'm going to keep scrubbing it so you can see it. I'm not adjusting the brightness because I feel like that will make it even worse. But you can see her going to the right side of her car. It is confirmed that she went into the woods after this. You can plain as day see her disappear to the right side. It didn't happen at the 1 minute and 38 mark on the original video. It took that long. You can see her standing right there. Did you see it in the beam? Let me reverse that a little bit. That is her figure right there. She's walking. There she went. She's walking right now. She's gone. See me reversing and moving back? That's her figure going behind that sign. She went into that darkness, and whatever happened after that, I do not know. I know a lot of people are talking about you can't see a toddler. If there was a toddler, you would not be able to see it from this traffic cam. Wherever she saw it from, it would be impossible to see the toddler. At 9:30 at night in Alabama with all the shrubbery, it's just impossible. It was exactly 3 minutes before the law enforcement showed up. Between we saw her last figure, when law enforcement showed up, it was 3 minutes exactly. So what happened between those 3 minutes? There's the law enforcement showing up. What happened in those 3 little minutes where she completely vanished? Completely. What do y'all think happened?
Major breaking news out of Hoover, Alabama. At 9:18 p.m. last night, 25-year-old Carly Russell called 911 stating that she had saw a toddler walking on the side of the interstate and she's not been seen since making that 911 call. Carly was on the phone with a family member when this occurred and they heard her scream. A lot of people are saying that the child could have been a ploy to get her to pull over and then someone took her.
That breaking news this morning, family police looking for this woman, 24, Alethea Carly Russell, surrounding her disappearance. are alarming. Hoover police say she disappeared from the side of I-459 around 9:30 last night after she called 911 to report a toddler walking on the side of the interstate near exit 10. Now, after calling 911, she stopped to check on the child, called a family member to tell them what was going on. Well, that family member lost contact with her. The line, however, remained open. Now, when Hoover police arrived to where she was last seen, they found her car still running with her belongings inside, including her phone and smartwatch, and they have not received any reports of a missing toddler.
So we are certainly following this very closely this morning. Family and friends are meeting at the Hoover Met right now to get the word out, but to begin a search as well for Carlee Russell.
And our Jonathan Skinner is live there now with the latest on that. Jonathan?
Hi, Mike and Janice. Yeah, we're here with the family and friends as well as the parents, Carlos and Talitha Russell. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you all for the coverage.
Yes, ma'am. So first, what's sort of the last thing you remember as far as seeing Talitha, seeing Carlee, and as far as hearing from her as well?
Yes, I last spoke with Carlee about 9:18 last night. She left Taziki's and was headed home. She picked both herself and me and herself up food. Then she talked with my daughter-in-law about 9:36. She told her she saw a child on 459 right before exit 10 that appeared to be 3 to 4 years old by themselves. She's pulled over. She called 911, but in the process, at some point, she got out the car. My daughter-in-law could hear her asking the child if they were okay. The child didn't respond, or at least she didn't hear her respond. He or she respond. And then she heard our daughter Carlee scream. And from there, all we could hear was noise, background noise in her phone, which we later found out was noise from the interstate. And so they have found her wig and her hat and her cell phone that were in close proximity to her car. So if anyone sees Carlee from the pictures that we have put out, just keep in mind, because her wig came off, her hair will be braided down to her scalp, so she won't have, long hair or anything like that is reflected on the picture. She pretty much has cheekbones like me. Pretty much our face is the same structure. So that's pretty much all the information we have. We do have some indication that there may have been a gray vehicle that a trucker saw that pulled in front of her car at some point as they were passing along the interstate.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And that's all the information, or leads, we have at this time.
Yes.
So I just ask everyone, if you would, pray. We are trusting God. We are staying positive. We are not allowing any negative thoughts to enter our minds. So all that we're doing is trusting God, believing God that our daughter will be brought home safely.
Yes, ma'am.
This is where Carlee was last seen, here on I-459 near John Hawkins Parkway in Hoover. On Thursday evening, police say Carlee called 911 saying a toddler was walking down the side of the interstate. After calling police, she stopped to get the child and called a family member. When police arrived, they found her car and belongings nearby, but no sign of her or the child. Family members now on the search for Carlee, her parents desperate for her return.
To keep applying the pressure to keep this thing going. We really want this to blow up. We want the word of the day to be Carlee. We just want to have her back home safe.
Now, law enforcement, local organizations, and Anaya Blanchard's mom, Angela Harris, also helping out with this search.
As soon as I woke up this morning and saw the Facebook post, I immediately reached out to the family and to friends. Like, how can I help? And knowing that the situation is very serious and knowing what this family is going through, I just came immediately.
Now, her parents tell WVTM that she was last seen wearing all black and white Nike shoes. They are also putting this flyer up in Hoover and surrounding areas.
On July the 13th at approximately 9:34 p.m., the Hoover 911 Center received a call from a 25-year-old female on I-459 southbound near mile marker 11. She reported that she saw a toddler walking on the side of the interstate. After calling 911, the caller stopped to check on the child and also called a family member to report the same details. The family member lost contact with the caller, but the line remained open. Police officers who were already en route to the location of the initial 911 call located the female's vehicle as well as some of her belongings at the scene. They were unable to find her or a child in the area, and Hoover police have not received any additional calls of someone missing a small child. Detectives are currently investigating these incidents and are requesting the public's assistance to help locate Carly Nicole Russell. She's described as a 25-year-old black female who is 5'4", 150 to 160 pounds. She was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and white Nike tennis shoes. Carly got off work last night around 8:20 p.m. from a business at the Summit in Birmingham. She's also believed to have stopped to pick up food from a business at the Colonnade before driving towards Hoover on I-459, where she stopped near mile marker 11. That location is between the Galleria flyover and exit 10 for Highway 150. A single witness has reported possibly seeing a gray vehicle with a light-complected male standing outside of Carly's vehicle, but we have no further information on that individual or the vehicle at this time.
Y'all, I just don't stop with the updates on this Carly Russell case. Now, this update may have came before or after the video I did last night. If you didn't see it, go back and watch. But let's get into this report done by NBC News and Today, and we'll come back and discuss.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, baby, I am a crime show girly, NCIS, CSI, Law & Order, SVU, cold case, numbers, all that. And there is one thing that people always talk about on that show when they are investigating, and something I know to be true in general. I studied psychology. It was my minor. There are inconsistencies with the mother's words and her body language. When she said, yes, she believes that there is still an abductor, her head went left to right to say no. That is an inconsistency in body language and words. That is something that investigators look for. Also, the father, his head went in a circle. That is not definitive, a yes or a no, but we got another clip. And first of all, the father's face, it says everything, but we have one more clip, okay? Let's get into it.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life. There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
Baby, that father literally said under his breath and mouthed the words no. Y'all, rewind, go back. You seen it. Now, I'm not one of the heavy conspiracy theory girlies, so you're not going to get that here. But what I do appreciate here is the truth. And what I can say is the full truth is not being told. Now, can I say what is and isn't the truth at this point yet? No. But can I assume based on my own common sense what is going on? Probably. And I'm sure you can too. And the thing that I'm the most upset about here is that if this is a hoax or it's all been a lie or this isn't the truth and there's some alternate story, the problem that I have with this is that there are really black women missing, being kidnapped, being abducted. There are children that are really being out here used as bait, and to use this as a story, allegedly, is not cool, because that takes away from the realness and the reality. The next time this happens and somebody says something, we as a public might not stand up and do something like we did for her. And that is the problem. When you cry wolf, other people suffer in the end. Now, child, I'm gonna wait for the rest of the story, but let me know what you think in the comments. Also, as a disclaimer, because I know y'all girls like to tussle, I am not saying that I am not happy that she is back home. I am not saying that I am not happy that she is safe. What I am saying is I want the truth. So don't start with me. Don't come for me because I didn't send for you.
Please stop scrolling. This one's time sensitive. Carly Russell's driving down the road in Hoover, Alabama. She sees a toddler walking out into the street. She pulls over in a red Mercedes and calls 911 for help. The dispatcher advises they're sending police. She hangs up and calls a family member. While she's on the phone with the family member, she screams. The phone line is left open. The family member says all they could hear was the interstate. When the police arrive, they find her hat, wig, and phone laying in the road. Her red Mercedes is still running. Her purse and AirPods are still in the vehicle. They find an area where a vehicle had maybe been in the grass. According to the family, the police said the ground was too dry and they were unable to get tire impressions. A single witness, a truck driver, said that a light-complected, brown-skinned male was seen leaning over the car. She was last seen wearing a black shirt, black pants, and black Nike shoes. She's 5'4" and about 150 pounds. To be clear, an unknown male used a toddler on the side of a main road to abduct an unsuspecting female. And somehow, this is not all over the national news. This is why we have a platform. Please click the favorite button, Like this video and share it so it gets traction. Please keep the family in your prayers for strength.
That mother back there is not real.
And he looked back at her and said, I am going to take this whole plane down.
We learn a new detail about the person who sat next to the woman on the plane who went viral.
She did not disappear. She was going on a cruise, which would explain the disappearance.
A woman who claims to be a friend of hers says this.
Not drinking, not drunk. The guy sitting next to her, something was misplaced. She looked at him and he looked back at her and said, I am going to take this whole plane down.
One of her family members commented under this creator's TikTok.
She basically said that her cousin is physically home and okay. Mentally, she is traumatized and not okay. She wanted everybody in the thread to know her cousin does not drink and she does not take medication. She also wanted everybody to know that she is not a racist and that there was not a black man involved. You just wait for her to come out when she's ready and give her that space to do that.
Most importantly, it's good to know that she's home and physically safe.
Oh my God, you guys, this is probably the biggest story in true crime today, or it probably will be for the next week. Did you guys see that someone confessed to the murder of JonBenet Ramsey? For my younger followers, this is JonBenet Ramsey. She was killed in her home December 27th, 1996. She was a 6-year-old little girl. She lived in Boulder, Colorado, and someone came in the middle of the night, it was presumed, and kidnapped her. Now, it has been long speculated that the parents were involved. So they said they woke up and there was a ransom note. They were very well off. And I've heard theories also that the son was involved. He was roughly her age, maybe a couple of years older than her. So like I said, she was killed on December 26, 1996. Now, on December 27th, 1996, this was a huge national story. Now, before the story became known as widely as it was, the Boulder police received a tip that someone had gotten a phone call from a friend that he hadn't spoken to in years saying that he was scared. He hurt a little girl in Boulder, Colorado. Now, authorities never looked into this or questioned the guy, but the guy in question was Gary Oliva, and this is a picture of him at the 1-year anniversary at the JonBenet Ramsey vigil. This was a picture taken by a private investigator hired by John Ramsey, which was JonBenet's father. He gave them this information and they never looked into it further. So again, like all my videos, what is going on with the justice system in this country? So they never looked into it, never questioned this guy, but 4 years later, in 2000, this guy was arrested with relating to CSA. I can't really say it on TikTok, but you get the idea. He was arrested in 2000, at which point he wrote more letters, confession letters, to this friend that lived in California. Okay, so fast forward to 2016, this guy gets arrested yet again, and cops find pictures of JonBenet on his phone, and the CSA charges that he was being arrested for multiple times, and the multiple tips from this guy that he had called and said, I'm scared, I hurt this girl, were never looked into. What?
Police officers served a search warrant today on a home in Las Vegas in the case of the murder of Tupac Shakur. Now, Tupac Shakur was killed back in 1996. That's almost 27 years ago, and it is probably one of the most well-known cold cases that there is. And everybody associated with this case is probably dead and gone. A kid named Orlando Anderson, a gang member, has been the lead suspect in this case for many years. They just haven't been able to solve it. So back in 1996 in July, Orlando Anderson and some of his fellow gang members, his entourage if you will, ran into some Death Row Records folks in the mall. A fight broke out and a Death Row Records medallion was stolen. Well, you can imagine the Death Row Records folks did not take kindly to that very much. A couple months later, Orlando Anderson was at a Mike Tyson fight and he was pinpointed as the one who had stolen the medallions. Well, he got the crap beat out of him because the Death Row Records people were there and they beat the crap out of him. 2 gang members, 2 gangs violently fighting. He protected his face, but he suffered some severe injuries. Later that night, Tupac Shakur was killed in a drive-by shooting by folks driving away in a white Cadillac. But get this part. Orlando Anderson sued Death Row Records and the estate of Tupac Shakur for injuries he sustained in that beating. Well, Tupac's mom didn't like that very much, so she came in and countersued for wrongful death in the death of her son, Tupac Shakur. The case did settle. Orlando Anderson was set to get $78,000 out of that settlement, and he died in a drive-by shooting 2 hours later. There's been a lot of speculation around this case, but most people do believe that Orlando Anderson was the one who pulled the trigger. There's been movies made about it. There's been a lot of investigation about it, but most people also believe that police failed to follow up on 2 critical tips. One of those tips was a witness who said that they could identify the person who killed Tupac Shakur. He was found dead 2 months later. Another witness said they had seen the white Cadillac driving away and could possibly identify the white Cadillac, but that was never followed up on either. The death of Biggie Smalls was thought to be retribution for the death of Tupac Shakur, and interestingly enough, neither of these cases have been solved. But 27 years later, today, they served a search warrant on a home in Las Vegas. What are they going to find? Whose house was that? I am watching.
And breaking in just the last hour, we are learning that Las Vegas police have searched a home in connection to the murder of Tupac. A murder that's gone unsolved for nearly 30 years. He died, remember, at the age of 25 after being shot in a drive-by in Vegas. You're looking at some of that old footage here. I don't have to tell you that Tupac Shakur, mega huge rap star. A short but legendary career. He sold tens of millions of records worldwide, most of that coming after his death. There has never been an arrest in the case, and police say this new search now, just the last 24 hours in Vegas, is part of an investigation even all these years later into his death. Noah Pransky is joining us now. What else do we know? And does it signal that maybe police are getting closer to solving this mystery that's been out there for years of who killed Tupac?
Well, I don't want to speculate, but the statement you just read is about all we're getting from police at this point. We do know it took place in Henderson, Nevada, which is a suburb not too far from the center of Las Vegas, southeastern corner of the Las Vegas area. Police looked at this place last night, but we still don't have many new details today. As you mentioned, this case has been going on for 20-something years, unsolved, but in Nevada, there is no statute of limitations on homicides. So police have apparently been continuing to look. It seems like maybe there was some new lead. And Hallie, you know, you look back, there were a lot of police involved in this from Nevada, New York, California. We were talking about East Coast, West Coast rivalries, gang violence. There was a lot of reasons that maybe this case never got solved, but I'm sure a lot of folks crossing their fingers today.
You know, I feel like we would be remiss not to talk about, when you talk about the death of Tupac, the conspiracy theories that have...
Her arms were cut off. Her legs were cut off. Her ears were cut off. Her tongue was cut off.